Scientology's first celebrity defector reveals church secrets. "I was Miscavige's favorite boy," says veteran TV actor Jason Beghe by Tony Ortega. April 8, 2008, 12 a.m. Veteran television actor Jason Beghe tells The Village Voice that the Church of Scientology will be feeling blindsided by the YouTube video of him that hit the internet on March 14. Long-held frustrations with the church motivated Beghe to leave Scientology 7 months ago, after he had spent about 12 years in the organization as one of its most celebrated success stories. Over the course of about a year, he negotiated his disassociation with the church, trying to give every indication to church officials that he was parting on good terms. In reality, he says, he was already planning to go public with damning allegations about L. Ron Hubbard's controversial religion. Beghe most recently appeared in the CBS series Kane, and he'd been a regular television presence since the mid-1980s, showing up in series like Everwood, Jag and Num 3RS. Overnight, however, he becoming much better known for being the first Scientology celebrity to come out against the church. Hubbard minions covet celebrities like no other religion, and although some, like Nicole Kidman, have only temporary affiliations with it, none with Beghe experience has ever been so public in denouncing it. Speaking on the phone from his home in Malibu, Beghe, 48, says the 3-minute video is part of a much longer session. After leaving the church, Beghe had reached out to a Norwegian man, Andreas Heldelund, who runs Operation Clambake Xenutv1 probably the most comprehensive anti-Scientology website on the Internet. Heldelund convinced him to meet him along with another of the church's most well-known critics, Mark Bunker, known as Eyes Beard Man, to the anonymous movement that in recent months has organized worldwide protests against Scientology. "He came to my place out here, and we spent the day together. They set up a camera and I blabbed. And I barely scratched the surface," Beghe says. Originally from New York, Beghe turned a modeling career into television acting with relative ease. "One of those guys who works. I never had a problem getting a job," he says. "Never became a huge star, but I never stopped working." While taking an acting class from Scientologist Milton Katselas in 1994, Beghe says he decided he wanted to learn more about the religion, so he decided to hit up another student in the class, Bodhi Elfman, then boyfriend now husband of Jenna. Elfman, he says, gave him a copy of What is Scientology, a lavishly illustrated hardback that introduced him to the idea that L. Ron Hubbard had come up with a technology of the mind that supposedly enables the devout to achieve superhuman capabilities. The purification rundown, a detoxification ritual, caught his eye, Beghe says. His clear thing sounded good, too, he adds. Hubbard followers believe that if church members go through an increasingly complex and increasingly expensive process known as e-bridge, they may unlock the capacities of the mind so completely that they become clear, and have total recall, have the ability to leave their bodies, and are impervious to disease. After reading the book Elfman gave him, Beghe says he was ready to go whole hog. "I'd me some Scientology, man," he remembers thinking. And it didn't take him long to get hooked. In his first training session, doing something that, in typically arcane Hubbard argot, was called TTR0, he had to learn to unfront. Which, oddly enough, meant sitting motionless with his eyes closed. You sit 3 feet from someone with eyes closed, relaxed. You sit there and confront someone, unflinching, until you have a agile, stable win, he says. Translation: after trying to hold perfectly still for 20 minutes, he had an epiphany. Kind of left my body, and realized, in a new sense, who I was. And it was like, shit. He explains that as a child, he realized that he was someone who had a deep curiosity about spirituality. He remembers that he would turn to another person, look into their eyes, and feel that he was able to learn something essential about them. But when he looked into the mirror, he didn't get the same feeling. "Who am I?" became his mantra, he says, probably far younger than it does for, say, most college freshmen. It led him to have a sense of adventure about things spiritual. Now, suddenly, he seemed to have an answer. Not Jason Beghe. That just a body, like a car. And I the person driving it. I felt like for the first time I felt like I knew who I was. But now that he left the church, does he still ascribe that feeling to something L. Ron Hubbard had discovered, or some other psychological phenomenon? Only 7 months out, he admits that it's not really a question he'd been asked before. Here seems to be a level of hypnosis or brainwashing or whatever you want to call it, and this training is a way of getting people hypnotized. And there are a lot of patter that you constantly hearing that helps you get in that state, he says. But at the time, he was hooked. He remembers thinking, "Let me do this clear thing," figuring that it might cost as much as $10,000. Instead, he was asked for $50,000 to start his progress on the bridge. Probably had $60,000 to my name. But I plunked it down. Over the next year, Beghe says he rocketed through Scientology expensive levels like no one else. Along the way, he got plenty of special treatment. Celebrity center. My own private sauna. Everybody kissing my ass, which I was uncomfortable with. But nice people. Could be nicer, he says. His move to clear was so rapid, Beghe was told that diminutive Scientology leader David Miscavige considered him a Oster boy, for the religion was Miscavige's favorite boy, so they were doing all kinds of things to keep me happy, he says. Moved up the bridge faster than anyone in history. I went at it 24/7 for about a year. I went clear. Got to OTV. I was a trained auditor. OT stands for Operating Thetan, and the highest level in the church is said to be OT8 farther up the bridge than Travolta, and he been in there 1,000 years. He not a trained auditor. To Beghe, some of the celebrities seemed like dilettantes, enjoying the perks but not really working hard at being Scientologists. Was on a spiritual journey. IWAS and trying to make money, or influence people. I just wanted to try it. His wife also trained as a Scientologist and, like Beghe, reached OTV over his 12 years in the church. Beghe estimates that he gave Scientology about $1 million. Only about 3 years after joining, however, he says he started to have major problems. He had reached OT4 and was doing some special auditing, something referred to as rundowns or. Beghe says the rundowns cost $150,000 to $160,000, but the payoff was immense. Successfully completing the series would give someone serious juju. He's supposed to have the power to take over a country, he says. Beghe says that others also getting the training would be asked what they wanted from the experience, and some would say N times my income. Didn't like that question. I was just experimenting. Beghe went through day-long sessions in which he was peppered with questions about his ethics and behavior while holding onto a meter, a device that tests have shown simply measures skin galvanism, but that Scientologists believe reveal deep secrets in the mind. Beghe had used the e-meter many times before. But these sessions were a disaster for him. For 6 hours at a time, he beat with questions. Is there an upset? Did you commit a crime? Did someone almost find out something you did? I had nothing to say. IWAS and hiding anything. His auditors weren't satisfied. They were waiting for a loading needle on the e-meter to show he was in the right state of mind, but it kept spiking. Was sitting there for hours, at $1,000 an hour. It went for weeks, he says. And it cost that much, he says, because L required a Class 12 auditor. Class 12 auditor has more training than a brain surgeon. They eat the cream of the crop. They eat the only ones who can deliver the L. And they were making the biggest fucking mistakes, he says. Beghe says the proof that Scientology was no longer working for him came when he was almost killed in a car accident. After the L, he points out, that shouldn't happen. Clear is and supposed to have a car accident. You supposed to be practically immortal. To the Scientologists, the accident was an indication that someone was oppressing Beghe. So they pulled him in for more interrogation. Had about this gay person you friends with, Beghe says one official asked him, implying that somehow the gay friend was causing Beghe's clear state to be sabotaged. When Beghe objected, he says the official responded, "L, he gay." His training, meanwhile, continued to go badly. The next step, OTV, he says, was terrible. TV should take 3 to 5 weeks, and it took me 3 to 5 years. Not only were his auditing sessions grinding on him, Beghe says he was also expected to keep quiet about his troubles, and still make many appearances at Scientology events to keep up the fiction that he was doing well.